Next, we have Philippines.
For my speech, I'd like to pretend that you guys are Major League Baseball League officials, if that's okay. So, how many of you follow sports? Anybody? All right, awesome. We got a lot. And how many of you are Yankees fans? you might want to be. Just kidding. Do you guys ever wonder how those major league athletes get paid millions and millions of dollars for playing a sport with no restrictions? The reason for this is lack of salary caps. A salary cap is a set limit amount of money each team is allowed to spend on player salaries each year. This means that league officials, they come up with a certain amount of money, and the teams can only spend up to that much amount of money on the payroll for their players. So, without salary caps, like the MLB, who does not have a salary cap, they can go out and spend as much money as they want on player salaries each year if they have the kind of money. So the higher income teams are able to go out and spend millions and millions of dollars on those players, and they're able to keep spending those millions of dollars because they have such a high income. And with those millions of dollars, they're able to gain and buy those elite players and win championships. Then there are the lower income teams that are way down here. Those teams don't have that kind of money to buy those players, and therefore they're left in the dust, and they're not able to win those championships. This is why a salary cap needs to be instated in all professional sports. A salary cap would definitely equalize the playing field. With the salary cap, those higher income teams, they wouldn't be allowed to spend that much money on those players because then they wouldn't have enough money to spend on all the other players. So this would make all the teams, rather than just the lower income teams, have to think about who they're spending their money on and who they're not spending their money on, or maybe aren't worth it for their team, or they have to go scouting and finding the good players that aren't necessarily worth that amount of money. For example, in 2009, according to CBS Sports, the Yankees' payroll was $201.4 million. That's how much they spent on player salaries just for that year. CNN Money shows that the Kansas City Royals, their payroll was $80 million. In the scheme of things, that's a huge difference. The Yankees, according to MLB.com, have won 27 World Series, the most out of any other team in the major leagues. The Kansas City Royals, they won one. This shows that those higher income teams, like the Yankees, have that clear advantage to win the championships, like their 27 World Series. And the Kansas City Royals, who honestly you might not even know were a team, are clearly left in the dust. Along with this, teams like the Miami Marlins, this year they're 5-16 on ESPN standings. That's terrible, honestly. People aren't going to the games because they don't have the money and they can't buy the players. They're losing ticket prices, they're losing merchandise, buying, it's just not working for them. This is why, another reason salary caps need to be instated. They're getting to the point where they're thinking about selling the Marlins. And no one wants to see that happen. As league officials, you need to come to a consensus and find a set amount of money that will work for all teams so that teams like the Marlins and the Royals can come up in the standings and have prosperous seasons. Other leagues like the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, they all have salary caps. And most likely, at least each of those teams has at least one player that you all know. It isn't just one team that has all the big name players and then the rest of the teams are just kind of out there. All teams have big name players and they all make a difference in their sport. The Red Sox, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Yankees are all on the top 10 list for highest payrolls throughout all of baseball. They are also all on the top list for most championships ever won throughout all of baseball. Once again, this shows that those higher income teams are able to produce, and the lower income teams are, again, way back in the standings because they just don't have the money. Some people say that salary caps are not beneficial to leagues because they prevent flexibility, because they say, oh, I can't spend this amount of money on this player because then I won't have enough money to buy this player. That's a small price to pay to better their league. Although salary caps Yeah, they might prevent flexibility, but they would be a smart and equalizing decision for all sports leagues. They would make the games more enjoyable and the seasons less predictable, therefore creating a higher fan base and making more people watch professional sports. Thank you.